What we've seen this year is the rise of 3 monthly bonus rates, and it's often from providers like Chip, Moneybox, and Plum. Now, they look tempting, but it's important to understand what the implications are. When there is a bonus rate, for example, for 3 months, after that period, then the interest rate that you get on that bank account reverts back to that standard rate, which is always much, much lower. So, in the current climate, we're seeing things like an underlying rate of just over 2%, and maybe you'll get a 2% bonus rate for 3 months. And what that does is make the overall rate so competitive that it tops those Best Buy tables, which often Andy is having to update multiple times a day. But the underlying rate would get them nowhere near the Best Buy tables at all. What you will find, there will be some other banks out there that don't have 3 month bonus rates that may be sitting third or fourth in the Best Buy tables, that might be maybe 0.5% or 1% below the total rate the likes of Chip, for example, are producing with their bonus plus that underlying rate. You may find someone has a rate that's slightly below that where they're not applying this bonus. Now, what's been shown in research by II is that 60% of people don't move their money when the bonus expires. So what the banking industry is relying on is this inertia, and this means you could end up significantly worse off. So what you need to do is work out what the effective rate is. So let's have an example of an underlying rate of 2%. So that's the variable rate that will move up and down. And then you've got a fixed bonus rate for a 3 month period of another 2%. Now, this just makes the maths a little bit easier, but that would bring your overall rate to 4%. And that wouldn't be far from the Best Buy tables at the moment. What would happen is after the 3 month bonus rate drops off, you'll revert to that underlying variable rate of 2%, which can change. So to work out your effective rate, what you need to do is multiply the overall 4%, well, by a quarter. So you divide it by 4, because only a quarter of the year are you getting that rate. And then for 3/4 of the year, you're getting the rate of 2% once the bonus has dropped off. So if you multiply the 2% by 0.75 and the 4% by 0.25, and you add that together, what you find is you get an effective rate for that year of just 2.5%. So on the Best Buy tables, you don't have to go very far to find somebody who gives you a 3% rate that doesn't have a bonus attached. So the message is you must always work out what the effective rate is. But